Before my DNA testing, I knew a little bit about my background. While I was waiting for the results, I decided to ask more about where we came from. But to start off, this is what I knew. My dad grew up in Sigourney, Iowa with his two brothers, and my mom grew up in Davenport with her brother and sister. I knew my mom has always been in Davenport, and my great-grandma's house has always been in the family and kept getting passed down until recently we sold it. At a young age, my great-grandma had always believed we should know where we come from. My great-grandma Mary, who recently turned 100 years old, would always tell us stories of where my family came from, each time we had a family gathering. She would tell us what we already knew and added more detail, giving us further information. My mom's great-grandmother Martina, who lived to be 103 years old, came over from Ireland on the same ship as my mom's great-grandfather Leonard. They didn't know each other on the ship, and they landed in New York and both settled in Washington, still not knowing each other. They met as teenagers, and they got married and moved around, but finally moved to Davenport. Martina and Leonard had 9 children, and 2 are still living, one being my great-grandma Mary. Mary got married to Everett Panther. I did not get to meet Everett, and as he is still talked about in my family, I have not gotten to hear any stories of where he's come from. Everett and Mary had 7 children. That is pretty much all I knew as it went before DNA before this assignment. I believed I was Irish, and I was always told I had some German and Czech in me. I was interested to see the results, and I was excited to see where I came from. I still had a lot of questions and wanted to investigate further before my results came back. I gained a lot more information. Still, on my mom's side, my grandma's father, John, is German and Irish. John's parents were Fred and Helen. Helen was born in Ireland and Fred was born in Germany. They came over and John married Virginia, otherwise known as Ginny. Her parents were Hattie and Jacob, who were both all German. Ginny's grandfather came over from Germany and her parents were first generation. However, Chapman was not always the last name that they had. Hattie and Jacob lived in St. Louis and his name was Henry Bach. They married and ran away and they changed their last name. When he passed away, she had no money to pay for his burial services, so she had to call his family. They had came back to get him and take his body to St. Louis and changed his name back to Henry Bach. Virginia and John had 2 daughters. The picture to the left is my grandma with both daughters, plus some of her grandchildren and great-grandchildren. To the right, she is with her daughter, who is my grandma, and the great-grandchildren. On the other side of my family, I attempted to talk to my grandparents. My grandpa Al is all Irish, and that is all I got from him. And my grandma was unsure about herself, but she believed she was mostly Irish. Her 2 did not answer much else. She has 3 brothers and grew up in a small town. They had 3 boys and lived in Sigourney, Keosauqua, and now Fairfield, Iowa. They had a farm for a number of years, and it has been in the family and passed down, but they eventually had to sell it. This is a picture that shows both grandparents and their children and their grandchildren. Taking the DNA test, I had in mind what my results would be like. My DNA test results came back 57.9% North and West European and 42.1% Irish, Scottish, and Welsh. My results have confirmed and gave me more insight to where I came from.